1 second or less, that dream goes away and you just lost $100,000. I'm Lazaro Toledo with Elite Mortgage Advisors, and today we have JC Palacios with Summit Title, and she's going to tell us this story.
Thanks, Laz. This is really important. Thank you for doing this with me today. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of wire fraud and how everybody can be a victim. So I just want to tell you a story about that just recently happened to one of my closers, one of my closings. We had the fraud wiresters communicate with the buyers for a week. So to build that relationship, they build that relationship. And what they did is they changed the emails for my closer with just one letter. And they also changed an email for the realtor with one letter. So throughout this whole week, the buyers were thinking they were communicating with the title company as well as with their realtor. They were copying the realtor on every single email for this week. And so when it came down to send the wire, the cash to close, they sent it, the fraudsters sent an email and said, hey, I'm out of town. This is the wire instructions you need to send the funds to. Go ahead and send it there. I'm not available to, to confirm these wire instructions with you, but go ahead and send it. And so the buyers did. They didn't call the title company to verify because they had already built this relationship via email for a week already. And so that's what happened. Even though they've already sent the binder deposit to us and we got that fine, but the fraudster said, hey, we're no longer using that. We changed bank information. We're no longer using that bank. Here's where you need to send the cash to close. It was very, very slick, very professional. They got the realtor involved. They got, my closer involved as well by just changing one letter to where nobody can really look at it. Sometimes you're driving, sometimes you're busy, you can't confirm. You see the name on there and that's what you go with, right?
Yeah, or simple as changing an I to an L, something like that.
Exactly.
Very simple.
Yes, yes. But what happened here was the lack of communication, and that's what I want to instill to the buyers and the realtors as well and loan officers. We're all so busy now, and it's a lot easier to send an email, right? But that's where it is. That's where the communication fails. That's where the fraudsters go in. It would have been so easier to pick up the phone and call. Some of the things that we do, first of all, we don't send any wire instructions to realtors because they are the way that the fraudsters get in through those emails, because 90% of the emails are about real estate transactions. So that's their way in. So we do not, and some of them get upset because they want to make it easier and just help their clients send these wires out, themselves and everything. But we never, ever, ever send wire instructions directly to realtors. We always send them to the buyers and the borrowers. And then our wire instructions are missing the last 4 digits of the account number. So they have to call and speak with somebody at the title company to get the last 4 digits. And when they call, we ask who they are, what transaction they're working, what house they're buying, what the address is, something really quick, casual, not like a whole interrogation or anything like that, but something that you're supposed to know what you're doing here. You are really a part of this transaction. And then we go ahead and release the last 4 digits. And we do the same thing to the loan officers, to the lenders. We send in the wire instructions and they have to call in and verbally get the last 4 digits, get the full account number. So we like to do that to protect the realtors and then to protect the buyers as well. But there's only so much you and I can do. In this particular transaction, the loan officers, the lenders, they knew to call and they knew not to go off of some email. And so their funds were safe. They didn't send, the lender's wire to us because they knew what to do. But buyers don't know what to do. It's not something they do every day, you know? And so unfortunately, when it does happen, it's the realtor they blame first, the title company, and the lender. Everybody got compromised except for the buyer that didn't follow the steps. But I feel like, it's not entirely the buyer's fault. I feel like there was definitely a lack of communication here. And I think that in a situation like this, we all need to make a group effort to first educate, and prevent. Because once it's done, it's too late. You're on your own. The realtor can't help you. Title company can't help you. Loan officers can't help you. FBI can't help you. The bank that you sent the money from can't help you. These poor folks that went through this, the only response that they got from everybody was fill out a claim form. You know how frustrating that is when you lost $100,000 plus your binder deposit, because in this situation, they also lost their binder deposit. That was $5,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So my situation here is, I want to take this opportunity to teach, our clients, teach our realtors to prevent this before it's like, never think it can happen to you. Never think you're too smart. because the fraudsters out there are even smarter, unfortunately. It's what they do.
Yeah, they're always innovating new things.
So Laz, what are some of the tips that you can give to the clients, to your, what do you recommend to your borrowers when they're sending binder deposits and sending any wires?
Yeah, I mean, you went over some of them, so I would say definitely always have them call you guys, right, as a title company. Even if you've already sent it before, I still say, hey, call them again, get new ones just in case, whatever, right? But we want to make sure they're in contact with you guys for that stuff. I've had people call me. I'm like, yes, I have them, but just call you guys just in case, right? So that's one thing. And all the emails I send out, my email signature always has like a wire warning transfer stuff. So that way, if you just read that, it'll kind of give you a little glimpse of what you should do or what you should be aware of.
I think you have your own domain too. That is extremely
my own
important.
Email, yep. So I also have my own company email address. So like you said, there it's a little bit more secure than just having a random Gmail or Yahoo account. So that helps too. Makes it a little bit more efficient and harder to hack for those reasons as well. But even, you know this, I was in a big company before. Coming from there would be emails hacked there too, right? So it does help provide an extra layer of protection, but you still need to be careful because, like you said, they'll still change like an I or an E or something like that, and it'll be hard to spot sometimes.
Right.
One other thing I learned is whenever you hover over an email, if you don't click it, but you just put your mouse key on it, it'll do like a little quick rectangle of like where that email came from, something like that.
Oh, wow,
so
interesting.
So if it's like a fraud email, you'll see it'll go to like a different web page. It doesn't even go to, like, let's say they put at Summit Title or at Elite Mortgage, something like that. It won't even go to that web page. It'll go somewhere else.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Without clicking. It was something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that. So that's something else people can do as well without clicking on the actual link.
And when I know that in the past, when we worked together, our communication is always constant, texting, not just emails, on the phone calls. And that's, I just can't stress how important it is for, especially with you, you're a broker. And so you have different lenders that you deal with, and then those lenders have processors. And so there's so many people involved in a transaction. But I think that, the communication that you and I maintain in our transactions, that's key,
Correct.
and then your clients, you have to stress to your clients to communicate with you, because in that other, when that happened, the realtor had no idea, because the buyers were just going off of, well, my email, my realtor's copied in this email. She knows. And when it came down to it, they were like, well, you were copied on all the emails. And the realtor was like, no, I wasn't. And then that's when it was found out that they had created a fake email for her as well.
So something very important just reminded me of, so I always tell them this, right? We got to balance, get the final numbers, right? We don't know what those are. So I was telling them, look, whenever I send you the final number, I'm going to call you and confirm that, hey, these are your final numbers. This the exact amount you need to send. I even take a screenshot and I'll text it to them, or if I talk to them on the phone, we'll just go over an email. And then once we have that conversation, so I tell, all right, now we need to get with title to send the money.
Yes.
Right. So that's something else that I think also helps prevent it. As well.
And we also give them final numbers, and those have to match. In this, I'm glad you brought that up, because in this case, the fraudsters had sent them the final from the title company, sent the buyer the final figures. They went ahead and emailed them to the fraudulent account. Then when my closer came in and sent the final emails, they were different. So the buyer called, at that moment, picked up the phone, hadn't done it before, picked up the phone and called my closer and said, why did my figures change? And she said, what do you mean? This is the first time I send you final figures. And that's when the bomb exploded. Wow. That's because, and then obviously the email that they sent with the final figures was a lot higher than what they actually needed to bring to closing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I just can't stress communication enough. We have to educate these buyers that they have to communicate. I know it's easier to send emails, but that's where they catch you. That's what it is. If it could have just been prevented had they picked up the phone to the realtor, hey, we've got this. Is this fishy to you? Is this a red flag to you? Or something, or this person's on vacation, saying that they're on vacation, they can't answer the phone. But why are they working and sending me emails if they're supposed to be on vacation? At the end of the day, the sad story is that these buyers lost $100,000. They couldn't buy the house that they planned on buying. They're out of contract. They lost their binder. So many things happen, unfortunately, and it happens all the time. And that's why it works.
Millions, maybe billions of dollars of wire fraud happen every year.
Yeah, and then just the desperation that when you're in that situation that no one can help you, like I
Mhm.
feel really bad for them, and then we have to take it in the chin because at that point they want to blame everybody. It was
Yeah.
it was the loan officer's email that got hacked. It was the title company's email that got hacked. It was the realtor's email. But none of that blaming is going to resolve anything.
Correct.
Right now they just had to file a claim and just hope for the best,
Yeah.
and that's very unfortunate. So that's why I'm glad that we're making this video. I want to stress to other loan officers and all the realtors and buyers and borrowers, communication is key. Don't get
Yeah.
caught up with emails.